All right, but now you guys have heard the news. Daniel Jones was released by the Giants early Friday morning. So let's bring in our New York Post Giants beat writer, Paul Schwartz, so we can break down, I guess, the Daniel Jones being released. Paul, the Daniel Jones QB1 era was over a couple days ago. Now his time as a New York Giant is officially over. Just initial thoughts when you saw the tweet.
It had to happen, really. I mean, having Daniel hang around for the next 7 games, 6 weeks after this, not doing anything, injury guarantee. He can't even practice. They probably don't even want him to lift weights. So something can happen. He can get hurt. It made no sense, being the fourth, being a safety on the scout team. Not that he really was, but just the optics are bad. So this is better for everybody. He said his goodbye the other day, and now he went in, asked for his release. They gave it to him. It's a classy thing to do. Time to move on.
All right, well, we've got audio of Giants head coach Brian Daboll speaking to the media about the release. Here's Daboll on Daniel Jones being released this morning.
So I know we just put out a statement releasing Daniel. Wish Daniel the best. He came in this morning, had a meeting with Mr. Mara, and then after discussing with John, with Joe, and with Daniel, felt this was the best thing for Daniel. Got a lot of respect for him, like I've said, true pro, and wish him all the best.
All right, Paul, thoughts?
Look, this was initiated by Daniel. Daniel had a couple of days of this, right? He had really Wednesday and Thursday of the new normal for him, which was showing up, not practicing, going to meetings, doing his thing, not being part. He's part of the team, but he's not a playing part of the team. We know that. He's literally not going to get back on the field again. He did not probably want to feel embarrassed by being a healthy scratch on game day Sunday against the Buccaneers. I think he wanted to stay around his teammates. He likes his teammates, but he's a non-player. So it's one thing, he knows to be around his teammates last year when he had his torn ACL. That's a different story. He's coming back from something. He's rehabbing. He's not coming back from anything. He's just waiting to be released at the end of the season. So went in, talked to John Mara, talked to Joe Shane, talked to Brian Daboll. What are the Giants going to do? Say, no, Daniel, you're under contract. You have to come here every day, even though you're not going to play. And, and that's disrespectful. So this makes sense. Daniel will go home to Charlotte. We'll see if he signs with another team. He might not. We'll talk about that. He might, but he also might not.
Yeah, I think this was a great move by both ends because, like you said, this is completely different than last year. Being around the team but being injured is different because it's like, all right, you're still looking at Daniel like he's hurt, but next year he could still be our QB1. He could still have a voice in the locker room. Now it's like you're QB4. I bet you he feels like he doesn't have an identity anymore within this team. He wasn't even QB2, let alone QB1. So I think it's great by both moves. And so now what does this free him up to do, Paul? Can he sign with another team? Like, what can Daniel Jones do now that he's been released?
Well, he has to clear waivers first, which there is 100% chance that he will. If a team picks him up off waivers, that means they assume the rest of his contract. That means it's like almost $14 million for the rest of the season. Nobody's doing that. So he will clear waivers, and then he's a free agent. He can sign with anybody. A team that needs a backup quarterback, we'll see. Maybe on Sunday, something catastrophic happens to a quarterback in this league, right? And all of a sudden the team says, holy smokes, we have to elevate our backup. We don't have a third string. Maybe they sign Daniel. Now, let's remember this. The reason why Daniel Jones is not the backup quarterback and could never play for the Giants again is that injury guarantee of $23 million next year, that if he got hurt, the Giants were on the hook for $23 million. Now, if you're Daniel Jones, do you say there's no more injury guarantee? So do you want to go sign with a team at the end here, end of the season, to be a backup, right, which he would be, learn a new offense. If you play, you can get hurt. If you get hurt, there's no injury guarantee. So now you're getting paid for the end of this year anyway. Now, if you get hurt, you can't go on the free agent market next year and sign maybe a $10 million or $8 million contract next year to be a backup maybe challenge for a starting spot with another team. You're hurt. So a lot of things to consider. I know some people are looking at it and say, oh, holy cow, Daniel's going to sign with the Cowboys and he's going to play against us on Thanksgiving, right? First of all, if you just spent 6 years probably frustrated that Daniel Jones didn't win enough games for you, why are you worried about him beating you on Thanksgiving? Yeah. Second of all, Daniel Jones has almost never beaten the Cowboys. Do the Cowboys look at Daniel Jones and say, he can be great in our system? You just spent 6 years, beating the Giants with Daniel Jones. Also, can you learn a playbook in a week as a quarterback? I don't think so. So I really wouldn't worry about that for Thanksgiving. I think you can eat your Thanksgiving meal, not worry about Daniel Jones taking the field and beating you in Arlington, Texas.
I don't know, Paul. Remember when Baker Mayfield was traded from the Panthers to the Rams? He was traded on that Monday or Tuesday, and he played in that Thursday night game, and he won it. He looked good, and he won it. Daniel Jones is a smart dude, but I think that all comes down to how frustrated or how embarrassed he is with the way things ended with this organization. There are some players who'd be like, you know what? I'm going to go sign with the Eagles. I'm going to go sign with the Cowboys, and I'm going to stick it to the Giants right away. But there are some players who sit back, listen to their representation, and is like, hey, if you get hurt, that $20+ million next year is gone. So you kind of have to manage your expectations. You have to manage your frustrations. But one thing Giants fans need to understand, Paul, Daniel Jones is gone. That's one thing. But now all eyes, there's the next QB1 of this franchise, whether it's via free agency or whether the draft, there's so much pressure on this next person. They have to perform. Otherwise, the ghost of Zach Wilson is going to recruit the ghost of Daniel Jones, and MetLife is really going to be haunted because Aaron Rodgers came in and hadn't won even more games than Zach Wilson won with the Jets that year. So all I'm saying is be careful what you wish for, but that's added pressure to Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll to get things right on the next QB1. Otherwise, Joe Schoen can end up like Joe Douglas if he goes all in and misses. But, I don't think that happens. But I'm just saying fans need to beware. Like they have to get the next one right, Paul.
Well, the pressure is on, right. It's not on the player. I mean, the player's going to come in and be a draft pick, and then he'll be a regular rookie. I mean, there's always pressure on that. But the pressure is on the guys who are employed to pick the next guy, right?
Yep.
That is the pressure. Look, Joe Schoen and his staff, the front office, they are all over this. They're in Colorado. They're in Miami. Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward. They've been to Georgia. They're looking at all these quarterbacks, right? The Giants on Thursday night went from, I think, 5-3 in the draft order with the Browns winning. You know what I mean? So, it's a give and take here. Fans may want the Giants to lose. Fans may want the Giants to win, whatever it is. But the Giants are going to have a top 5 pick here. I mean, I don't think they can nearly do enough winning to win enough games to be out of the top 5. So they're going to have a high draft pick. The Jacksonville Jaguars may have the first or second pick, and are they going to stick with Trevor Lawrence? Are they going to pick a quarterback? We're getting down the road here, so a team may want to trade up and get that pick. So, look, there's a lot of iterations that are going to happen here. They're going to have to get it right. Do they sign a bridge quarterback? I mean, I think they're going to draft a quarterback. I really do. They may sign one and draft one. Maybe they'll sign Justin Fields and draft one of these guys and let Justin Fields play. And then, after a certain amount of time, if he doesn't do the job, they'll put the guy in. I just think when you're up that high with this group right now, they're going to have, I don't think they're going to look at all these quarterbacks and go, I don't like any of them. You fall in love. You go to the dance. They say you got to dance with somebody. You got to find someone to dance with. That's all there is to it. Just a couple of housekeeping things. As far as this release of Daniel Jones, whether it happened now or after the season, that's irrelevant. The Giants will have a dead cap hit of $22.2 million in 2025, and they will save $19.4 million on the cap in 2025. Really, the best thing that came out of this Joe Schoen contract. You can argue it was a bad contract. They shouldn't have given it to him. They should have put the franchise tag on him. They should have done that. That's fine. That's a legitimate argument. But the best thing that Joe Schoen did with this contract is Daniel Jones's camp wanted that 40 million a year. They wanted that. That was important to them. So 4 years, 160, averages 40. They got that. It was guaranteed 84 million. They got that. But Joe Shane put that speed bump in that this is really a 2-year contract for 84 million. And if we cut Daniel Jones, we're only on the hook for 22 million in 2025. So this was always a 2-year show me, make good contract. That's what it turned out to be. So at least, in a bad contract, it's not lasting longer than 2 years.
I'm glad you just said that and broke that down, Paul, because we didn't see that or hear that on Hard Knocks. We might just clip that. We got Hard Knocks with Paul Schwartz. Paul, thanks for hopping on with this, man. The Daniel Jones era is officially over, guys. Tommy DeVito takes over. We'll be QB1 versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we'll have our live post-game response after Giants-Bucks. Paul, thanks again, man.
Yeah.